looking at Barefoot. That'll be on the near track, track 2. Fred Schaefer from Illinois in the Barefoot truck, and the opposition provided tonight by the Toy.
The Barefoot truck is a blown big block Chevrolet. Jim Schaefer out of Granite City, Illinois. Fred is really good at this. He's one of the early builders of monster trucks, and he'll be awful tough. I think he'll probably put this one away if he doesn't have some kind of mechanical problems. He's running this big blown Chevrolet on alcohol. He's going to be going up against the truck from here in Michigan called the Toy. The little Toyota truck just makes its home right down the road a little ways from here in the Dome, and he's got a tough battle. He would have to be a decisive underdog, but here's a young man that will take one of them to the limit.
Barefoot against the Toy. Again, they pulled the sled 100 feet, unhooked, and whip down the track down towards the 200-foot mark. They have to make a 90-degree turn, come back the other way, and then flatten 6 cars on their way to the finish line.
Now, the Toy will probably have an advantage once he gets unhooked from the sled. The sled is going to be a big problem to him. He doesn't have quite the horsepower that Fred's got with the Barefoot truck. Fred ought to pull a whole shot and cover him pretty good right there going for the 100-foot mark. Once they unhook, that Toy's a light truck. It's real maneuverable, and it does a good job.
Cars are a little smaller. They don't stand quite as high as they did a run ago. As we look down the line, the Barefoot, of course, we had in competition, not quite competition like this, in a show we did on ESPN out in Anaheim, and that's the night that Barefoot flipped.
This is the new Barefoot. This is the 88 version of it.
Barefoot and the Toy.
They're lined up. The crew is with their helmets on, ready to go in and jump in and unhook and get clear from the track. Setting on the line, there's Green. Schaefer pulled the wheel stand. The Toy is having problems. The Toy has broken the rear end of the truck. He's pulling off the front tires only, and he's really having a trouble battling that sled down the track. That may be all of it for him.
Should be an easy win for Barefoot. Makes a nice, easy turn now.
Well, Fred's probably looking across track. He knows he's got this one in hand, so he won't hammer it too hard.
He hammers it pretty good. And Barefoot is an easy winner.
And a wheel stand as he crosses the finish line. Well, that's the style of Fred Schaefer, as he lets you know that he's here to do business.
Another heat. Duraliner getting all set to line up. Looks like Heartbeat is on the other side.
This is going to be a great race. Real good race. The Duraliner Giant running a brand new motor, a Butch Schultz built blown Ford motor. And he's up against the Heartbeat of America. Now, the Heartbeat of America truck is brand new. This is the first time that Brett has had this truck out. And he goes up against some hard competition in the Duraliner Giant in first round here in the Dome.
So far, Bigfoot has won, Barefoot has won, and now Heartbeat of America against Duraliner. Competition continues here, Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan.
Well, the Duraliner truck is a very well-prepared truck. They've had some problems with it in the past, but hopefully those are all in the past. And see if this truck can't pull off a big win here tonight as he goes up against the brand-new Chevrolet truck called the Heartbeat of America. It'll be a good race. It's Ford against Chevrolet. There'll be a lot of splits here tonight.
There's what they're shooting for, those crushed vehicles.
And they have done them in completely. If you can imagine all the other trucks that are still to go. You know, the cars get a little flatter, the trucks get a little faster, they get a little more air underneath them, and they will really hammer hard.
How important is the pit crew, Mike?
It seems like tonight, Bob, this is very important, is getting in there and getting unhooked and getting off that track. The pulling part of it has really been different than some of the early competition.
Is it different downstairs than it is from our vantage point up here?
Very much so, Bob Kurtz, because these trucks are flying very high, only about 10 foot from where I'm standing, and it makes you wonder sometimes if they got them all down pat. Heartbeat having some problems. Duraliner Giant is out on top. The Duraliner Giant makes a good pass. He goes past the mark. He shuts off. There's his crewman in there. He's unhooking very, very quickly. Gives him the go-ahead. The Heartbeat has problems. But watch this. The Duraliner Giant, I don't think he'll show any mercy. He wants to win this one for the company. Here he goes. Lines up, gets back in shape. He's got to get the front tires up on the cars and off the cars. Here we go. Watch out. Watch out. Broke the front tire off of it right here in front of me. He has just destroyed the left front tire. Kurt Dabney has broken the left front tire as it went up in the air and crashed. And look over there on the other side. Look to the other side. The Heartbeat of America has just rolled the rear axle out from under that truck. We've got monster trucks laying everywhere tonight. They're all over the place.
Unbelievable competition, but Duraliner Giant with the broken left front tire has not crossed the finish line. Not that it's going to make any difference because Heartbeat of America looks like it's in a couple of pieces over on the far side.
He lines up and does a good job. He hammers it and gets it in the air. There's the truck goes up. It broke it when it hit the car. When he hit the car, the left front tire gave way on it. It pulled in a little bit. On that replay, you could possibly see the tire give way as he bumps up against the car and gets it up in the air. Kurt knows he's got problems when he looks at that tire hanging out from under it.
Next round of competition, Excalibur on the track closest to our cameras. Samson is on the far side, and Mike Galloway is on the floor.
Boy, this is going to be one great race. The young man that drives the Excalibur truck knows no fear. He will go hammer down as hard as the truck will go. Don Maples, driving the Samson truck out of Huntsville, Alabama, will hammer that truck. He says he built it, he can fix it, and he will go at it hard and heavy. The Samson truck, supercharged alcohol Chevrolet. The Excalibur is a carbureted supercharged Chevrolet on gasoline. Samson maybe with just a little bit more horsepower, but Samson's also pulling a bigger set of tires, a set of 66s. The Excalibur, a little bit smaller tire. I would venture to say, watch the Excalibur truck. He could very well clear all 6 of these cars.
It's about set to go. Remember, Bigfoot and Barefoot are the 2 winners so far. Heart of America and Duraliner both broke down in the last heat. The Toy and the Monster Vet have been eliminated.
Look at Samson all the way in the air. Don Maples is carrying the front end. Excalibur's having a little bit of a problem. Maples is there. He's stopped already. Excalibur is just now shutting down. Maples has the advantage going into this part of it. Maples makes a clear start. He's covered him by 5 car lengths. Maples in the air. But watch Excalibur. Watch Excalibur. He will make up the time right on this one.
They made the turn.
He'll straighten it out. Watch him fly. Watch him fly.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that.
Excalibur came from behind to win it.
Don Maples almost lost his when he hit the car. Excalibur, as we talked about before he went into the competition, when he straightened it out, he went wide open, hit the cars. He never backed out of the engine and let it fly.
Final first heat competition, the Virginian Giant is the closest to us. Deal Wilson, Winchester, Virginia, and on the far side, it's Wild Stang.
Cliff Starboard in his new Mustang convertible goes up against Deal Wilson and the Virginia Giant. We talked to Deal earlier. He said this was the first time he had been in this type of monster truck competition. But believe me, Deal Wilson will not let this be the last time. This man is a capable driver. We saw him earlier in his funny car break an oil line, and we know that caused him some problems. He's got a big blown Hemi under the hood. Let's see if Deal Wilson can pull off a win over Cliff Starboard. Now, Starboard's blown Mustang, called Wild Stang, is a convertible, and he's very capable. It's a short vehicle. It's got a good quick turning radius. It's got a blower motor in it that's going to help him on the start and over the cars. But right now, pulling this sled is going to be a very tough thing for both of them. I think Deal Wilson may have the advantage in the sled part of it, and the Mustang may have an advantage on the latter part of it. So we'll wait and see as this competition gets real close. Green light, and Deal Wilson is in the lead. The Virginia Giant. A big lead for Deal Wilson. A big lead.
Giant wins the sled competition. Now let's see what transpires from here to the end.
Watch Deal. Cliff Starboard having problems getting unhooked. Deal looks back. Looks across. Watch Deal, though. He'll line up, wants to make sure everything's all right. He feels like he's got a little pad.
Well, he got a pad because the Mustang, the Wild Stang, took a wide turn and took himself right out of it, and the Virginia Giant is the winner.
tire off of it. The right rear tire is completely torn from the car, as is the left rear tire. He's trying to cross the finish line. We have destroyed monster truck and monster cars tonight like there's no tomorrow.
Virginia Giant, it looks like against Samson.
Samson rolls the slack out of the chain, and this will be a very tough one. Ford against Chevrolet, Don Maples against Deal Wilson. Watch out. This is going to be a real close race. I think the hitching is going to be important. Both of them in wheel stand. Both of them side by side. Both of them very, very close. This is where it's going to make them or break them. The Virginia Giants loose. Samson's loose. They both make the turn side by side. This is important. Deal Wilson heads into the straightaway. Wilson has the lead. The Virginia Giant is in the lead. Watch out. He's up. He's up. The Virginia Giant is still making track. The Virginia Giant takes a win.
Now Virginia Giant took the lead in the pit. Both trucks looked like they were pretty even, Mike, as far as pulling the sled the 100 feet, but they got unhooked from Virginia Giant a little quicker than they did from Samson. Barefoot and Excalibur now battle here with the favorite Bigfoot on the sidelines.
Watch the Excalibur truck. Now he's in the left-hand lane. That lane has been a terrible lane for a lot of drivers tonight, but watch the Excalibur truck. He could be the one to beat in this round of competition. Fred Schaefer carries it.
Barefoot with the early lead.
Now Fred Schaefer will show no mercy. Fred Schaefer will show no mercy. He will hammer the Barefoot truck if he gets away. Uh-oh, Excalibur! Excalibur has pulled off a quicker start. This will be close to the finish line.
Here we go.
From your vantage point, Bob. Here we go.
Excalibur has the lead. Excalibur in the air, and Excalibur is the winner.
Well, Bob Kurtz, my vantage point would not tell me who won that one. I think it was the Excalibur truck.
It was, Mike.
The Excalibur truck, that young man has really put on a driving demonstration tonight.
Here we go now with the monster truck final, the championship round. Barefoot against Virginia Giant. And down to trackside and Mike Galloway.
Ford versus Chevrolet, a classic confrontation for the final round. This will be very close. It could go down to the last set of cars. Both of these have been very strong in the pulling part of it. Deal Wilson, of course, a veteran puller. Watch the Christmas tree. There's the red. Here comes the green. They're counting down. Here goes. There is no definite advantage. The sled just got the lights wiped out. Virginia Giant takes a gigantic lead.
Here comes the turn.
Back, here comes Fred Schaefer. He's going to try to win it right on the last card. He'll do it.
Not yet, he won't. No count out Barefoot yet. It is the Virginia Giants. That is unofficial, Mike, but upstairs it looked like the Virginia Giant won.
Bob Kurtz, that was one heck of a race. Fred Schaefer went across with the front tires about 3 foot in the air. We're going to wait on an official's decision and see the replay and see if we can find out. Now, right here is where we really have a problem. Watch Fred Schaefer's truck. The sled runs into it, and Fred's rear tires are off the ground just a tiny bit. Watch that Barefoot truck as he tries to leave. It goes out of the camera, but the truck tires were up off the ground. He spun for just a moment. Then he slingshots down, and right here is where he makes up all of his time. When he heads for those crashed cars, he is wide open and flying high. Now, the Virginia Giant Deal does a great job. He keeps the truck well under control, keeps it down on the ground, and that's where the speed's to be made up. They both hit the cars and the ground about the same time. Bob Kurtz, I cannot tell. We'll have to wait on an official's decision as to which one of those won the championship tonight. It's very, very close.
It looks like the Virginia Giant took the flag.
All right, we're back at the Pontiac Silverdome, Pontiac, Michigan, and this is the grand finale. It's the battle of the monster trucks. We have 8 here tonight. On the far side, that's the Predator. On the near side, the Jersey Outlaw.
This should be a great race. The Jersey Outlaw, the Ford on the near side and the Predator on the outside. Now, both of these trucks are set to run, and I mean they're set to run these kind of an obstacle course. They're planetary gear trucks. They're blower motors. They've got horsepower. They should have the steering capabilities. So it's going to be a very, very good race, I would say. Ford versus Chevrolet. Let's see who's going to take it. This is the first set out. The cars are still all the way up. They have not been crushed yet. These guys have to take that in their minds. But the main thing you've got to worry about is getting over those cars and making that finish line first. Kevin Dabney and Al Perez, they're heads up in this race. All right, they're setting on the line. They'll wait for the flagman to drop the green flag. It's a straight race down the course, then a tight turn, then a short shot into the straightaway and over the cars. Who's out on top? Well, it's going to be close. It looks like they're side by side. It is a side-by-side race. Predator pulling one out.
Yeah.
Predator with a close turn. Let's see what happened. Jersey Outlaw. Jersey Outlaw in a little bit of a problem. The Predator slows down a little bit. The Outlaw's making up some time. Outlaw hits the cars. Yeah. Oh, there's smoke going everywhere. It's the Predator. The Predator's going to take first round. Jersey Outlaw definitely had problems, hit the cars, the smoke went out. Looks like he may have lost the steering hose on the front of it. And if that's the case, that could be the costly.
Let's look at this again, Mike. The Predator had this race, it seemed like, right from the get-go, despite being head-to-head. Here we go again. Predator far side, Outlaw near side.
Well, it's side by side, but right in this point, I believe the Predator really mashes on the motor hard. He calls for the horsepower, and they're there. The Predator definitely makes a better turn to the left than the Outlaw does to the right. The Outlaw really forcing the truck in the turn and having to straighten the tires out, causing it to bounce and losing some precious time. Also, the Predator now about a car length ahead, a truck length ahead. He lines up for the cars, works that rear steering to kick the back of it around. Watch him hit the cars. He gets up in the air, but he wants it to come down. Now, there's the smoke out of the Jersey Outlaw. There, I believe, is the hydraulic fluid that came out of the steering. You notice the front tires are not moving around. They're not really under control. He's turning the steering wheel, but the steering wheel is not connected to the tires at this time. It's going to be the Predator going into round number 2.
Alan Pizzo of Milton, Michigan, the winner, round 1. The Predator moves on.
We got Kodiak versus the Lone Ranger. Kodiak, the big Chevrolet, sitting on the inside track. Gary Bowers, the Blown Ranger, on the outside. This is a tremendous race. Both of these guys are super tough. I'm going to make my way out trackside to get a little vantage point on it.
Okay.
It's going to be close, Ken Brew. Let's watch him.
Good shot of the Lone Ranger there. He will be on the near track. On the far track is Kodiak. Here we go. And it's Kodiak who takes the lead first. Turns wide on the near side. Lone Ranger on the far side, slow to turn. Kodiak should hit the cars first.
Kodiak
Here we go.
runs at him hard.
Oh!
Kodiak gonna take it.
He's got it. He's got it. He is over the line before the Lone Ranger even hits the cars.
Well, it was Kodiak's race all the way.
Just a superb run by Kodiak, who, as we said, Mike, hit the cars, or I should say was finished before the Lone Ranger ever hit the cars.
Mark Bender did an outstanding job when he left that starting line. He covered a hole shot all the way around, evened up a little bit on the turns, but Mark really got a good hole shot on the turn. He straightened out a lot quicker, and he really hammers it hard going into that front straightaway. Kodiak up in the air. Watch him. The time will start. The winner is determined when the tires come down and cross that white line. And look at that Gary Bauer, all the air in the world, but just a little bit too much. Couldn't get it off the ground enough to get over the cars quick enough to make up some lost time on that starting line.
Mike, you're down right at trackside. Can you hear those cars crush as the monster trucks go over them?
Ken Brew, you can actually just hear the metal distorting and popping and cracking as the monster trucks hit them.
All right, so now we go to the semifinals. We had 8, 4 have been eliminated. This, the first 2 winners of the heats. The modern-day Outlaw, Buster Guffey behind the wheel against the Predator. There is a shot of the Predator.
Alan Peso driving the Predator, the big Chevrolet truck. Then the little S10 on the inside. Here again, this is going to be another tough race. These guys want it and want it bad.
Peso and the Predator outdueled the Jersey Outlaw in Heat 1. Predator near track. On the far track, the Outlaw. Here we go.
Predator truck out in top. Predator Predator truck with a good two-truck lead as they make the turn. This truck set up to work and work hard. Planetary's on all four corners, weighing about 14,000. He swings for the cars. It's closer than we thought. The Predator's really going to have to go for it to pull it out. He's going to pull it out right on the end.
He's got it. He's got it, and like the heat before, he won it on the turn. He made a wide turn, but not quite wide enough to allow the Outlaw to make up ground. That was Predator's race, start to finish, wasn't it, Mike?
Well, it was, and you know, right there at the end, though, I think the Predator really felt like he had it tied up. I think he felt like that he had it all in the bag. And if you'll notice, when they make this turn and head out on the concrete for the cars, the modern-day Outlaw makes up a lot of precious time. He really hammers it and hammers it hard. So it's up to that time, the Predator kind of had one in the bag, but they're even right there. Modern-day Outlaw and Predator are even, but the Predator has to really get after it hard to pull off this win and go into the final round.
Mike, we talked about the cars crushing on this. What does it sound like down there? What do those engines sound like when they really kick in?
It's extremely loud. The supercharged motor's pounding out the power. We're going into the...
We got Kodiak coming up.
Next quarter round.
Yep, Predator, the winner of the last round. Alan Pizzo out of Michigan, winner of that semifinal. Kodiak comes back up for his try in the semifinals.
Well, he's going to go up against Mr. Upset of the night.
And Mike, we're looking at the cars right now, and you can see damage has been done quite a bit, as now we're moving well into the semifinals.
Well,
yep.
Ken, it's just going to make the track that much faster. It's going to make it that much quicker. The guys will be able to get on top of the cars and get over them very, very fast. These guys are really going to have to hammer hard to pull a win out tonight. Jeff
Baitner pulled the upset in hot stuff, knocking off Bigfoot, and now he tries his luck against Kodiak. Kodiak outdoing the Lone Ranger before.
Jeff Bainer out of Yakima, Washington. You gotta know that he's awful proud of it.
Here we go.
See if he can pull another one. It's close. Bainer is in the lead. Jeff Bainer is in the lead. The little short Jeep makes another tremendous turn. He's gonna do it. The little Jeep, he slows up just a little bit. He's gonna pull it out on the end. Here comes Kodiak.
Yeah.
He's gonna Kodiak. He does it.
Hot Stuff has done it again. He has outdueled Kodiak. Hot Stuff moves to the finals.
Ken Brew, the secret on the Hot Stuff truck. Not only is the truck performing well tonight, and is Jeff doing a great job of driving it, but
Mike, I was going to say, when we look at this again, you'll see just a hairpin turn here. This is where he wins it.
This is where he's making up all the time in the world. He's got the lead and got the whole shot. But the little short wheelbase truck, watch the way it gets around the turn. It's instant turn, and he's headed back for the cars. He can drop on the throttle a lot quicker. Now this time he backs just a little bit before he hits the cars, lets out of it just a hair, kind of make sure everything's lined up. In his first race, he did not do that. When he went up against Bigfoot, he knew there was not enough time. He took the gamble, and it paid off for him tonight up against Kodiak. Right now, Jeff's Hot Stuff truck shows no problems at all. If it'll stay together for one more round, and he can put a drive on like he has in the last two rounds, here's a young man that's going to take home a championship. He's going to be considered an underdog coming in here, but when he finishes up tonight, he's going to be considered a champion, whether he wins this last round or not, Ken.
Let me just make one interesting observation. When he was on this track, the near track, in his first heat, he was a little wide in his turn. He was much tighter on the far side of the track. We'll see if he can come tight right like he went tight left in the last heat.
Ken, I think he's going to be able to do it. I think in that second heat, he kind of mastered what it was going to take to make the truck work in these turns, to get lined up and for the straight shot. He's got a good set of cars that he's going over, and he's really going to have to mash the throttle real hard. The Predator has shown a lot of hole shot. He gets on the throttle quick. The motor's got good response to it, and I think this thing may be won or lost right here on the starting line and down at that first turn.
Predator far side, near side, you've got the upset-minded Jeff Bainter, who has come out of nowhere to make it to the final.
He calls the Hot Stuff the world's largest Jeep, and right now he is standing up to that name.
Side by side, the winner in this heat takes it all.
Now remember, the Predator showed some heat when he finished that last round. The motor was getting a little warm, and there's some steam seems to be coming out of it right now, but you can bet that he won't let up on it.
Cars on the near side where the Predator, or on the near side where the Hot Stuff is going to go, seem to be a little more crushed down than the far side.
Well, but the far side, the first car they're hitting has got kind of the end of it crushed down, and it's making a ramp, letting the guys fly over the cars, and that may be the secret in this final round, is to fly over the cars and try to land at that finish line.
Here we go.
This is it. This is it. Baynard has got the lead. Jeff Baynard and Hot Stuff has got the lead. He makes a tight turn.
Great turn.
Who's it gonna be? Uh-oh, he shows a little problem. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Look out. He's all four in the air. He pulls it off.
Yeah.
He pulls it off.
Yeah.
What a pass.
Oh, man. The Hot Stuff has won it. It has snuffed out Bigfoot. It has taken care of the Predator. It goes home with the booty tonight. Mike, it's the hairpin turns. That's what's winning it tonight for Hot Stuff.
Well, he jumps him out of the hole about a car length, maybe two right there at the turn. But watch him when he comes in. He swings real close to the cone, just about as close as you can get. When he does that, he's immediately on the throttle and just wide open. Jeff knows that he's got it. He sees the Predator take a little breath over on the far side, and Jeff really goes for the goal. Outstanding job. Young man gets all four in the air and lands, just trucking right out the end for Hot Stuff.
All right, let's go down trackside to the hero. Jeff Baynard standing by with Mike Galloway. Mike?
Jeff, it's got to be your night.
Yeah, it is. Things have been going real good for us tonight.
What was the secret tonight? Was it the whole shot or was it the tight turn?
It was both. It was staying on the gas a little bit longer into that corner and then making a good clean turn, I think was the key to it all.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. We're ready for the start of monster truck competition here at the U.S. Open Association Bud Racing and Monster Truck Spectacular. As you can see, the two different tracks in our side-by-side racing. Track one, the farthest away from the camera, is Mark Bendler out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, driving the incredible GMC Kodiak. And in the near lane, the boss from Southern California, Todd Blazer, sponsored by AM/PM Stores. Side-by-side start to this first battle in the first round of eliminations, and it looks like Bendler comes down off the cars first, and Kodiak takes the first matchup win over the AM/PM boss. Shelley Herman, Mark Bendler's always a tough one.
Well, you know, he's on the road 38 weeks out of each year, and it's with that kind of dedication, it's no wonder that he's a winner.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark Bendler has a lot of enthusiasm going at this event because just a couple of weeks ago, he won the first ever indoor monster truck race in the state of Wisconsin in front of his hometown fans in Milwaukee with this kind of performance. On the replay, look at that landing. A lot of air into this machine, and even though it was a little bit sideways on the landing, Bendler still drives out of it beautifully. And by the way, that supercharged big block Chevrolet in that thing is one of the most powerful motors in monster truck racing. Here you see Blazer, the AMP Super Boss, getting a little bit out of shape when he hits the cars, if only because it looked like he didn't have enough power when he hit him. But indeed, Kodiak goes to the next round. This matchup, in the far lane, it'll be Jess Burgee, one of the newer drivers of the circuit with a beautiful new chop top playing for keeps monster truck, and he'll be up against a new entry of the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail. In the near lane is Dan Tassone and the Star Monster, a beautiful piece of equipment. Now, both these guys are newcomers to the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail, but it'll be interesting to see who wins this battle of the rookies. They nail the throttle dead even as they hit the cars, and it looks like the wheel comes off of the playing for keeps Chevrolet. Unbelievable! Burgee manages to keep that thing right side up. It slams into the front of the fire truck. And listen to the crowd at the Silverdome. They cannot believe their eyes.
Brett, I'd like to see another angle to see exactly just what happened there.
I really honestly don't know how the wheel came off. It was so sudden. As soon as he hit the cars, the wheel really never even bent. Look at the crowd. They can't believe it. But Jess Burgee, for the rookie that he is, there you see the man behind the wheel checking out that tire.
He wants to know, too, just what happened.
That's a 1,500-pound tire and wheel assembly. All right, here's the slow-motion replay. Let's see what happens. He hits the cars. Everything's fine. The wheel caves in. And as you can see, the axle is still connected to the wheel. That was apparently the actual flange itself that everything's bolted to, coming right out of the front differential housing. The thing noses down, hits the concrete. Burgee of the cockpit at that point doesn't have any idea what has happened. What a driving job for that man.
He just knows it's going down further than he ever did before.
Well, nobody was paying attention to this beautiful leap by the Star Monster, landing on the fourth car in this obstacle course and then taking a bounce that kind of threw him around. But Jess Burgee, annihilating the equipment in the other lane, hands the win to the Star Monster. There you see the ground crew having to use one of those big front-end loaders just to get it off the floor of the Silverdome. You know, Shelley, that's 5-ton military axle equipment underneath that thing, and he manages to destroy it. That's power.
I think the operative term was 5 tons.
Well, the nightmare is Steve Hess over in the far lane, and he'll be up against one of the greatest showmen in monster truck racing, Dave Marquardt's immaculate Excalibur GM pickup, and indeed, the beautiful machine in the near lane definitely has a horsepower advantage as well. In fact, it shows up immediately when the flag drops sideways on an incredible launch. And what a ride for Mark Ward as he takes the win here in the first round. And Shelley, that's what, look at him, waving to the crowd. That's what Mark Ward is known for, is that kind of showmanship and driving skill.
Both vehicles got incredible height, which is something that we don't often see side by side.
Especially in an actual race. In exhibition racing, it's fine, but these guys were nailing the throttle, even up to the hit point. There you see Steve Hess go airborne in the slow motion replay. What a landing. Man, was he thrown around in that cockpit. You can see him just barely trying to hang on, and unfortunately, even that incredible jump came in a runner-up effort. Now, watch the king of air in monster truck racing. Mark Ward hits the cars, the front end up. Look at this thing, 10 feet in the air. He clears every one of the cars, and again, he's thrown all over the cockpit. Huge bounces by this thing. 17,000 pounds hitting the asphalt from 10 feet up.
And those tires only have 10 pounds of pressure each.
I'll tell you, they will bounce around. What a ride for Dave Marquardt. He advances to the next round, and that will bring up an interesting pairing. In the far lane, it'll be Steve Helm with the Crusher, the Copenhagen Skoll-sponsored early model Chevrolet, taking on one of the true underdogs, Jake Heinke's home-built El Camino from Pennsylvania. The Ace's I El Camino using, of all things, a supercharged small-block Chevy engine. Jake is always a showman, but very seldom do you see him actually enter an all-out horsepower and driving skill competition, mainly because that El Camino on the left side of your screen weighs about 17,000 pounds and is way down in horsepower compared to some of the other killers. The green flag comes down. They move up for the first hit, and Heinke actually has a car-length advantage, lands it very nicely, and gets across the finish line ahead of Hess. In the Copenhagen Skoll machine, and Heinke gets an upset win there, Shelley.
You know, it's quite a bit different strategy from the first guys that came out in the block to these guys. Those cars are crushed now, so they really have to sail off on their own rather than rely on that. You can see it right here.
I'll tell you, it's a very good point, because even though Jake Heinke goes up in the air, he's still not nearly as high, even though he lands quite sideways. He's not nearly as high as he could be in, say, an exhibition car crush. The objective in an all-out competition such as this side-by-side battle is to keep as low to the ground as possible. Now, the Copenhagen Skoll Chevrolet that you see coming up was also a little bit down on power hitting the cars. At this point, he's already a car length back from Jake Heinke. And you can see he does what he has to do. He keeps the wheels down on the cars so that he can nail the throttle and try and get back around Jake before the finish line. Despite the driving skill employed there by Steve Hess, just wasn't enough to get around the Pennsylvania El Camino. Tremendous first round battle here in side-by-side monster truck competition. Kodiak will take on Star Monster. Excalibur versus Jake Heinke's Aces High will be a great battle. We're back at the U.S. Harvard Association Monster Truck and Mud Racing Spectacular. This is Brent Kepner along with Shelley Herman. And Shelley, we're into the semifinals of monster truck action. To kick it off, it'll be the Star Monster Chevrolet of the one and only Dan Tassone. The New Yorker taking on the incredible Kodiak of Mark Bendler out of Wisconsin. We pointed out earlier, Shelley, that Kodiak and Bendler are ready to win this thing. They're on a roll.
And unlike what we just saw at the side-by-side competition, this one is for keeps. We will eliminate one car. It'll then go on to the finals.
That's right. The winner of this one gets a final round berth. Waiting patiently on the starting line for the flagman there. A good side-by-side start. Bendler pulls out about a half-truck lead by the hit. Sideways again as Bendler is all over the track, but takes a clean win on that one. Shelley, Bendler has been driving his way through these rounds. Unbelievable.
You got to do that. He just keeps his foot down, hammers it through, and even got his car a little muddy.
Yeah, when you get into that mud, those things are impossible to handle, and those wet tires will slide all over this concrete floor, but Bendler handled it beautifully. Like I said, about a half-car lead off the starting line. Here we take a look at Tassone, who was doing his best to keep up. Beautiful, beautiful launch. Lots of air under the machine. He lands on the third car, nails the throttle again, and gets a little bit sideways off that last forward underneath, and then bounces hard. At that point, Bendler was trying to keep it straight. Here you see the Kodiak, 5 feet above those cars, but watch him come down sideways again. Although he braced himself in the cockpit a little bit better this time. Look at this thing, nose up, sideways, and airborne all at once. Now taking two tremendous hits. Look at him fighting that wheel to try and keep it straight. Tremendous job. Mark Bendler goes into the final. Now it'll be another interesting matchup. In the right-hand lane, Jake Heinke's small block Chevy-powered home-built Pennsylvania El Camino called Ace's Eye takes on the Airmaster, Dave Marquardt and Excalibur. Huge lead for Excalibur. Tremendous jump. Great bounce. A lot of pieces coming out from underneath those, Shelley, and that may spell problems for the winner.
I don't think he can spare those spare parts that are laying there on the track.
I don't know what happened. We may have to look at the slow motion to find out what the problem was. Jake Heinke gave it a valiant effort. Here, let's see what happens with Mark Ward after another incredible flight in this Chevrolet truck. You see him make the perfect hit. Unbelievable air. You can actually see the drivetrain parts flexing as this thing goes airborne. Now he lands. Tremendous compression. Look at him in the cockpit just sailing with this thing. 16,000 pounds back down on the concrete. Aces High, in the meantime, will advance to the final round. We have just received word that apparently Marquardt's machine is not campaignable for the next round of competition, and with a sideways in the air bounce, Jake Heinke, the ultimate underdog, goes into the final round against Mark Bendler's Kodiak. But now we're ready to determine the Monster Truck Championship. And this is maybe a lopsided battle here, Shelley, as the Kodiak of Mark Bendler has been literally driving past his opponents. Jake Heinke in the Pennsylvania-based Aces High small block Chevy-powered machine, the El Camino, got here by the luck of his opponent's breakage when Dave Marquardt's incredible Excalibur broke after winning the semi. This is going to be interesting.
Jake has a lot of experience. I wouldn't be surprised if he could pull it out.
It would be a major upset, and it would certainly stun Mark Bendler. They're ready for the flag. The starter checking each driver. The flag goes up. Here we are, the Monster Truck final. Bendler, the first one hit the cars. Heinke starts to make up the distance, and a tremendously close battle. Man, Jake Heinke really gave a great representation of small block Chevy power. But Mark Bendler in the incredible Kodiak takes it. And like we said, Bendler's on a roll. There he is, waving to the crowd. They love this truck.
As you can see, as soon as he hits the cars, he gets the tremendous amount of height that he needs. And it was just that extra bit of oomph that got him over the top, because Jake was breathing down on him real hot and heavy.
It's interesting, in every round, look at that incredible bounce. Again, Bendler thrown almost out of the cockpit. You have to remember that most of these guys prefer to stay down low to the ground. Bendler was actually using his air height, as you pointed out, to clear those cars rather than drive over them. Jake Heinke, what a launch. He was going to try the same through the air method of clearing these cars. But again, he gets sideways. Look at the exhaust headers bouncing on that landing. That thing has taken a hit. And despite the bouncing just a few feet behind the supercharged big block Chevy